just still can't believe somebody took my brother away from the family. Still can't believe somebody did that. Can't believe it. It's one of these days I can't sleep again. Just wish I had my brother to talk to me.
What's going on there?
They thought my mom's boyfriend's money was in this house. And they came through the door like super early in the morning. I know that because I woke up with one of them holding a gun to my face. They said if I call the police, when they get back, and the police said they're gonna probably kill my mom. And I kept telling him I don't know where the money is. And he constantly kept putting the gun into my back. They realized that the money wasn't at her house because it's his money. And they went downtown to get his money from his house. He was like, do you know he has over $500,000? I was like, nah, I didn't know that. I know he does music, but I didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, that's the money we're looking for.
Went through a very, very hard time with this breakup. And she steadily voiced it, you know, did she really feel she feared for her life? She feared for her life that something might happen to her.
Keisha!
We love you.
Keisha! Oh, God!
The way she got killed, you know, it's kind of suspicious to me. It make me wonder, was it a hit out on her life?
This is Jokisha Brown, a 35-year-old aspiring actress and model who would be found shot multiple times in her vehicle just hours before her 36th birthday. But before we get to that horrific night in July 2016, let me take you back to where it all began, because the warning signs were there all along. Jokisha Dynasty Brown wasn't just another face trying to make it in the entertainment industry. Born on July 2, 1980 in Jacksonville, Florida, she was the eldest of 9 siblings, a woman who carried herself with a confidence that earned her the nickname Dynasty among her friends. She wasn't chasing fame for the sake of it, she was building something real. After graduating from Rabolt High School, she worked various jobs on Jacksonville's South Side, but her ambitions stretched far beyond that. Brown pursued modeling and acting with genuine passion, landing roles in independent films that meant something to her. She appeared in Queen Pin, a 2010 crime drama filmed right in Jacksonville, where she played a lead role in a story about a woman taking over her lover's drug empire. She also featured in Paternity Test and appeared in music videos for Atlanta rappers, slowly building a name for herself in the industry. But what really defined Jokisha wasn't her resume, it was how she made people feel.
She was beautiful inside and out. As you can see the pictures of her, how beautiful she was that way on the inside also. Just a real sweet, kind-hearted person.
As a licensed real estate agent and socialite, Jokisha had built a life that balanced business with creativity. She was known throughout Jacksonville and Atlanta for her infectious smile, her generosity, and the kind of positive energy that genuinely lifted people. People who knew her described someone who prioritized others' happiness, who gave freely of herself, who made every room she entered feel a little brighter.
She was just a great person, inside and out. You know, she walked in the room, she filled the room with her smile. Smile was just so beautiful, and she was always so positive. She's just a great person overall, you know.
She was also a devoted single mother to her son, born in 1998, whom she cherished deeply. Raising him on her own while building multiple careers wasn't easy, but Jokisha made it work. She was strong and determined. She was the kind of woman who refused to let circumstances define her. But here's where things takes a dark turn. 2016 was shaping up to be a year of unbearable tragedy for Jokisha, and it started in March. On March 2, 2016, her younger brother, Marlon Louis Bryce, was shot and killed in a shootout at a Jacksonville strip club. The loss devastated her. This tragedy left Jokisha grieving and emotionally vulnerable at a time when she needed stability most.
I just still can't believe somebody took my brother away from the family. I want to thank everybody for helping us. I just still can't believe somebody did that. Can't believe it. Some days good, some days bad. It's one of these days I can't sleep again. Just wish I had my brother to talk to me. If Marlon was here right now, I'll be talking to him, telling him about rehearsal tonight and catching up, cracking jokes, and I miss my brother so much.
But while she was processing this unimaginable pain, something else was happening in her life, something that would prove far more dangerous than she could have anticipated. Her relationship with Alfredo Capote, an Atlanta-based rap producer, had turned toxic after their breakup. And when I say toxic, I'm not talking about arguments or passive-aggressive texts. I'm talking about a man who was about to orchestrate one of the most calculated acts of violence you can imagine. Capote wasn't just any regular producer. He had a prior fraud conviction, a history that should have raised red flags from the start. But the thing about abusers is they rarely announce themselves with warning labels. They charm, manipulate, and wait until you're invested before showing who they really are. And Jokisha, still reeling from her brother's death, was about to discover just how dangerous Alfredo Capote really was. Friends later reported that she lived in dreadful fear after their breakup, having fled what had become a violent relationship. And she had every reason to be afraid, because what Capote was planning would change everything. On April 7, 2016, just over a month after Jokisha lost her brother, Alfredo Capote decided to make his move. Capote allegedly orchestrated what appeared to be a staged home invasion at Brown's residence in Duluth, Georgia. He didn't come alone. He brought an accomplice, and together they broke into the home while Jokisha and her 17-year-old son, Jack Collier, were inside. They were also disguised as random robbers to hide their identity. The accomplice went straight for Jack. He bound the teenager to his bed, held a gun to his head, and interrogated him about hidden money. The intruders were looking for approximately $500,000 from Capote's music career that he believed Jokisha knew about. And while Jack was being held at gunpoint downstairs, terrified and helpless, Capote went upstairs to deal with Jokisha himself. He assaulted her in her own home, then kidnapped her. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was a clear, premeditated abduction. Capote took Jokisha to his own house first, then to a hotel in Cobb County where the assault continued. At the hotel, Capote violated Jokisha at gunpoint. During this horrific ordeal, he admitted something crucial. He confessed that the entire home invasion had been staged specifically to retrieve the money he believed she had. But Jokisha wasn't going to let this man win. In an act of desperate courage, Brown escaped by jumping from Capote's moving vehicle at an intersection. She ran to a gas station and sought help from a complete stranger who called 911. When police arrived, they found a woman who was battered, panicked, and terrified, but alive. Meanwhile, back at the house, Jack Collier had made his own 911 call, initially describing two strangers who had broken in. But when Jokisha spoke to the police, the truth came out.
What's going on there?
They thought my mom's boyfriend's money was in this house. And they came through the door like super early in the morning. I know that because I woke up with one of them holding a gun to my face. They said if I call the police, when they get back, and the police is here, they're gonna probably kill my mom. And I kept telling him I don't know where the money is. And he constantly kept putting the gun into my back. They realized that the money wasn't at her house because it's his money. And they went downtown to get his money from his house. He was like, do you know he has over $500,000? I was like, nah, I didn't know that. I know he does music, but I didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, that's the money we're looking for.
Brown's report revealed Capote's direct involvement in the entire operation. She provided detailed accounts of kidnapping, armed robbery, false imprisonment, and aggravated sexual assault. The evidence was overwhelming. The son's testimony, her injuries, her escape, the hotel, and the staged invasion, all of it pointed directly at Alfredo Capote. You would think that would be the end of it, that Capote would be arrested immediately and Jokisha could begin to heal. But that's not how this story goes. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Capote remained free, and Jokisha knew what that meant. She expressed gratitude for surviving in social media posts, reflecting on her brother's recent death and her upcoming birthday. She was trying to move forward, reclaim her life, and believe that the worst was behind her. But it wasn't, because 3 months later, on July 1st, 2016, Alfredo Capote would ensure that Jokisha never saw her 36th birthday.
With a tragic mystery in Atlanta that is of particular local interest. Detectives are still trying to solve the killing of a Jacksonville native shot to death in a parking lot.
This happened Friday night as 35-year-old Jokisha Brown was sitting in her car. People know her as Keisha. Police still don't know who pulled the trigger.
Police say the 35-year-old was shot and killed as she sat in her Mercedes outside a Northeast Atlanta strip mall Friday night. The aspiring actress and model would have celebrated her 36th birthday the very next day. Detectives are still working to find the person who shot her, along with a motive.
While sitting in her black Mercedes SUV in the parking lot of a strip mall on Cheshire Bridge Road in Northeast Atlanta, waiting for a makeup appointment at a beauty salon before her birthday celebrations, Jokisha had no idea what was coming. An assailant approached her vehicle and shot her multiple times through the passenger window at close range. Up to 13 bullets tore through her body. Witnesses, including restaurant workers David Espedia and Tong Vong from the Red Snapper, heard what they initially thought were fireworks until they saw the shattered window. They observed Jokisha struggling to breathe briefly before she succumbed to her injuries. A bystander captured the chaotic aftermath on a cell phone, showing salon friends reacting in absolute horror. Police arrived after 10:10 p.m., confirming her death from multiple gunshot wounds. There were no signs of robbery or any random attack. The shooting appeared deliberate and targeted, execution style. And everyone who knew about the April assault immediately thought of one name: Alfredo Capote.
Not only has Jokisha Brown been in our news before, but her friends say she was also a victim of a horrific crime in the past that made headlines in Atlanta. Our team coverage continues with Action News Jack's Katie McKee in our newsroom. And Katie, Jokisha Brown was the victim of an attack in April, and her boyfriend is still on the run.
Letitia, the attack happened in April, but it's still fresh on the mind of some of Jokisha Brown's friends who spoke to our sister station, WSB, in Atlanta this morning. Police are looking for Brown's ex-boyfriend, Alfredo Capote. He's been on the run since April and is wanted for rape and kidnapping. Friends say he abducted Brown from her home, and she escaped by jumping out of a moving car.
She went through a very, very hard time with this breakup, and she's steadily voiced it. You know, did she really feel she feared for her life? She feared for her life that something might happen to her.
One of her last Facebook posts says she thanked the Lord for always being in her life and asked for strength. A video on one of Brown's other pages from a day before her murder showed her getting angry, and it ends with saying, "Leave me alone." Now, police have not given any information about a suspect in Jokisha Brown's shooting or indicated that the link to the April incident, but it's obviously on the mind of at least some of her friends. In the newsroom, Katie McKee, CBS 47, Action News Jax.
Capote, already wanted for the April crimes and for violating federal bail on fraud charges, became the prime person of interest in Brown's murder. But he wasn't sticking around to face the consequences. He fled Georgia, reportedly stating it was the end and preparing to shoot it out with police if they tried to take him. A nationwide manhunt involving U.S. Marshals was launched, with authorities offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to his capture. And for many months, Capote remained a ghost. But criminals always slip up eventually.
Ex-boyfriend labeled a person of interest in a Jacksonville woman's murder in Atlanta is in custody a year after the crime. Jokisha Brown was living in Atlanta trying to start a career as a model and an actress when police say she was murdered. Channel 4's Eric Avanier joining us from the South Bank with this new development tonight. Eric?
Well, Kent, it was here at Friendship Fountain in the South Bank just 9 months ago when family and friends of Jokisha Brown held a vigil in her memory. Fast forward to today when we learned her boyfriend, who was wanted in connection to her death, was taken into custody. Alfredo Capote is now in custody in Louisiana, charged with the armed robbery, rape, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and aggravated sexual battery of 35-year-old Jokisha Brown this time last year. Investigators say Capote raped Brown in her Atlanta home with her son present, then kidnapped her, took her to a hotel where he raped her again. The next day, police say she was able to escape and get help from a stranger. Just 3 months later, Brown was found murdered inside her Mercedes outside a beauty salon. Capote was named a person of interest in the murder. Brown was well known in her hometown of Jacksonville, graduating from Ribault High School.
Keisha! We love you! Keisha! Oh, God!
Her friends and family gathered for a vigil just days after her death, saying she was a kind and uplifting person. Now, Capote was arrested in Shreveport, Louisiana, on charges related to a counterfeiting scheme. He remains locked up on a $600,000 bond, and at this point, it's unclear when he will be extradited back to Atlanta to face charges in the Brown case. Reporting live from the South Bank, Eric Avanier, Channel 4, the local station.
On April 19, 2017, nearly a year after Jokisha's murder, Capote was arrested in Shreveport, Louisiana. He'd been caught during a counterfeit check investigation at an apartment complex. He was taken into custody and convicted federally for financial crimes and served 62 months, but Georgia wanted him back for state charges. Now here's where things takes a dark turn. 2017 faced indictments for armed robbery, kidnapping, sexual violation, false imprisonment, and aggravated sexual battery related to the April incident. Some sources indicate he was also charged with Brown's murder, describing the killing as part of an elaborate plot. But here's the problem. Conflicting reports note the homicide investigation remains open without formal murder charges against him. In 2021, while in federal custody, Capote filed speedy trial demands under the Interstate Agreement on Detainers, alleging violations when Georgia failed to try him promptly. This is a legal mechanism designed to prevent people from sitting in jail indefinitely without a trial. It's meant to protect defendants' rights, but in this case, it became a potential escape route.
Exclusive. The man accused of kidnapping and this mother might never go to trial because of a mistake by a local district attorney. That suspect was charged and indicted in the kidnapping in Gwinnett County back in 2016.
He was also named a person of interest when that same woman was murdered in Atlanta just months later.
Last year, Capote filed paperwork that would let Gwinnett County transfer and bring him back to Georgia to face trial. Under the law, prosecutors had 180 days to respond. They didn't. In a statement to Channel 2 Action News,
Capote is charged with kidnapping and murdering the model in 2016. In court, defense attorney Bruce Harvey asked the judge to dismiss the case against his client. He argued Capote first requested a speedy trial back in the Gwinnett murder case in June of 2020 while he was housed in a federal prison out of state on an unrelated charge. His attorney told the court Capote filed more paperwork with the court in December of that year, seeking action in his case. Both times, defense attorney Bruce Harvey said his client received no response. The prosecution argued they have no documentation of the correspondence the defendant claimed he mailed to the courthouse. The prosecution told the judge Gwinnett County sheriffs asked the feds to place a hold on Capote while he was in their custody based on the warrants in the case, and that was separate from the operations of the DA's office, that he didn't have a hold placed on him based on the indictment.
A paperwork error by the Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office changed everything. They missed documentation of his requests, and this was the kind of error that could set a killer free. In early 2022, Capote filed a motion to dismiss the charges, potentially allowing him to walk free after his federal sentence ended. The district attorney admitted the mistake, apologizing to Brown's family and citing COVID-related backlogs as a contributing factor.
District Attorney Patsy Austin Gatson said, quote, "The paperwork cannot be located, and we deeply regret and apologize to the family of the victim." And quote, "The failure to act upon the interstate detainer places our ability to prosecute the case in Gwinnett in jeopardy for the victims." The DA says they will answer the motion to dismiss set for a hearing next month, but admits there's little they can do now, and she's still digging into what happened, saying, quote, "The family deserves justice, And this unfortunate situation does not properly reflect our commitment to pursue and prosecute cases as we're charged. This administration takes responsibility, and we have put in place safeguards to prevent such an occurrence in the future.
My promise to the family is to seek justice on this case. And when this problem came up, we made a promise then that we would fight, and we are fighting.
But apologies don't bring justice. They don't bring Jokisha back. Fortunately, there was one piece of good news in this nightmare.
The trial for a man charged in a brutal attack of his ex-girlfriend can move forward after 6 years. A judge in Gwinnett County dismissed his motion to dismiss the case after a mistake by prosecutors. Channel 2's Steve Gelbach has been following this one for years.
It's been a long 6 years of waiting, just patiently praying and hoping for the best outcome.
Sabra Williams remembers Keisha Brown as bigger than life and loved living it. She says friends and family were relieved to learn this week a Gwinnett County judge ruled in favor of the district attorney and will give them more time to prosecute Alfredo Capote, serving time in federal prison on unrelated charges.
It seemed like it could go 50-50 one way or the other, but we had faith that they would do what they said they would do.
Judge found no evidence Capote's request was received by the district attorney or clerk's office and denied the motion. In a statement, the DA said, quote, "Our office is tasked with handling a pre-COVID backlog of cases along with the COVID backlog, and we are diligently working out of it. We promised to fight, and we did."
I know that there's still more to go, so it's like hopeful, but no celebrations yet.
Capote's sentence is up, and he could have been released in just 2 weeks, but now he'll stay locked up while awaiting trial.
On June 11th, 2022, a Gwinnett judge denied the motion to dismiss, finding no evidence that the demands were properly received in allowing the case to proceed. Capote appealed this denial to the Georgia Supreme Court in 2024, but the ruling upheld the trial court's decision, rejecting his claims of procedural failures. And as of today, no trial date or conviction has been reported. He remains in custody, awaiting resolution on the assault charges, with the murder probe still ongoing. It's been over 9 years since Jokisha Brown was murdered in that parking lot. Now, to understand just how broken the system is, let me tell you about another case that happened just 4 years after Jokisha's death, a case that shares disturbing similarities but had a completely different outcome. In February 2020, Amy Harwick, a Hollywood therapist and author, was murdered by her ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pershouse. Like Jokisha, Harwick had endured years of stalking and abuse from an ex-partner. Pershouse was a photographer with a documented history of obsession. Their relationship from 2009 to 2011 was volatile, with reports of physical abuse, including choking and punching. Harwick obtained 2 restraining orders against him between 2011 and 2012, but he continued harassing her through break-ins and leaked intimate photos. Both women tried to use the legal system to protect themselves. Both obtained restraining orders. Both lived in fear, and both were ultimately killed by the men they tried to escape. In January 2020, Pershouse confronted Harwick at an awards show. She emailed friends about her renewed fear, just like Jokisha had expressed to her loved ones. On February 14, 2020, Pershouse broke into Harwick's Hollywood Hills home, ambushed her, strangled her, and threw her off her 3rd-floor balcony. He dropped a syringe during the attack, likely containing a sedative.
The accused killer may have broken into the victim's home months before her death. Amy Harwick died after falling 20 feet from her bedroom balcony. Prosecutors say her ex, Gareth Pershouse, had broken into her home, waited hours for her to get home. The defendant allegedly strangled Harwick and pushed her off that balcony.
Here's where the cases diverge dramatically. Pershouse was arrested within 13 hours of Harwick's murder. 13 hours. He was charged with first-degree murder by February 19, 2020. His trial began in August 2023, and September 2023, after just 2 days of deliberation, he was convicted of first-degree murder. By February 16, 2025, he was sentenced to life without parole.
We adjourn the above entitled action finding defendant Gareth Pershouse guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree in violation of Penal Code Section 187, subsection A crime as charged in count 1 of the information. We further find the allegation that Gareth Pershouse intentionally killed Amy Harwick by means of lying in wait. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Gareth Pursehouse, guilty of the crime of burglary in the first degree in violation of Penal Code Section 459, a crime as charged in count 2 of the information. We further find the allegation that a person was present in the residence during the commission of the burglary to be true.
From murder to a life sentence was 5 years total. Jokisha Brown was killed in 2016. It's now 2025, no murder charges and no trial. What's the difference? The Harwick case had clear surveillance video of the intruder entering and exiting the property. They had DNA evidence, the syringe he dropped, and police body cam footage. The evidence was overwhelming and immediate. In Jokisha's case, the video evidence remains circumstantial. Grainy surveillance footage from the strip mall captured a well-dressed man loitering nearby shortly before the shooting, but identification was unclear. Bystander cell phone video documented the immediate aftermath, showing panic and emergency response. The son's 911 call from the kidnapping provides audio evidence of the home invasion. But here's the question that should haunt everyone. Does the quality of video evidence determine whether a victim deserves justice? Does being murdered in a parking lot instead of a Hollywood Hills home mean your case gets pushed to the back of the line? Does having grainy footage instead of crystal clear surveillance mean your family has to wait a decade for answers? Brown's death prompted vigils and fundraisers, though some GoFundMe campaigns were fraudulent, raising concerns for her family. A memorial gathering occurred on July 3, 2017 to honor her life.
Friends and family of the Jacksonville actress shot and killed in Atlanta mourn her loss and celebrated her life at a vigil held at Friendship Fountain.
Keisha! We love you! Keisha! Oh, God!
White balloons and white candles representing the purity that was Jokisha Brown. Her memory honored at this vigil held by friends and family Thursday afternoon.
Both cases underscore the profound challenges in domestic violence prosecutions. When women report their abusers, they escape and survive initial attacks, and then they're killed anyway. Harwick's murder brought renewed demands for stronger stalking and domestic violence laws, but those calls for reform haven't brought Jokisha any closer to justice. Despite all the delays and procedural nightmares, the district attorney has committed to pursuing justice. But commitment means nothing without results. Jokisha Brown deserves justice. Her son deserves justice.
You know, she was a very uplifted person, very kind, very sweet, always smiling, you know, just being around her energy, you know, she was a good person.
Happy birthday, Keisha! We miss you!
She was so beautiful, so loving, so giving.
She was just a great person, you know. She had a big heart. Her heart was too big, you know.
What's happening, Facebook? I am going live, as you can see, for the first time. Yes, this is my first time going live too. Yeah. As you can see, introduce. What's that? Why I say finish? I'm not finished.
I don't know. That's just saying.
Oh, okay.
When you finish. Oh, you got some viewers out there?
Hey. Okay, introduce yourself.
What do you think about this case? Let me know in the comments section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.